And welcome everybody. There we go. Ooh, I didn't adjust it there. Welcome everybody to the Go Home Wrestling Show, live on YouTube, Mixer, and Twitch. Along with if you're watching this on, not watching, listening to this on iTunes, Stitcher, and now Google Play. We got a proof of that this week, so we're in there. Welcome everybody, and yes, we're on a Sunday night. I got stuck at work last night. Long story short, and then D-Chef can't make it, Electrify can't make it, so with me tonight, and just him, is Griff. So say hello to everybody, Mad.
Hey guys, good to see everybody.
Yeah,
Hope everybody's ready to get some wrestling talk in.
Oh yeah, and then a lot to cover tonight. We have Hell in a Cell, we got Raw, we got SmackDown, a lot to cover. We're gonna go over our predictions, see who had the best prediction. Well, who was the best overall in the predictions? Who had the better record? We'll find out there, and well, let's go right into it. Extreme Rules, and now you're gonna see us on for the visual for the people watching on Twitch and Mixer and YouTube. You're not gonna be seeing this for a few because we're gonna go match by match. We're gonna talk about the match, and then we're gonna give our reveal our predictions, and at the end we'll see who had the better overall record. All right, man. First match on the card, even though it wasn't on the card, but it was on the pre-show, I was shocked it wasn't even on the main card, but the New Day versus Rusev Day. I mean, the first match, to me, it was pretty good, but as expected, a little mess up. What did you think of that match overall, man?
Well, in this one, I was still standing in the kitchen getting food ready for the show, but I was able to see the TV, and I mean, it was a good match. It was something to keep your attention. I noticed several botches going on, but
yeah,
overall, I was kind of impressed. Really, Rusev and English, everything they've got going on, it was such a cool dynamic that they had inside there and really pointed to where they were headed this Tuesday.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies. No, yeah, there was a couple of botches, and of course, I saw that too. But overall, I mean, it was the overall story that they were trying to tell, which eventually happened on Thursday. You were seeing bits and pieces that they were going to do it, and then they weren't. But yeah, I mean, I was actually shocked. I actually predicted Rusev Day because we did discuss that maybe if he wasn't going to get a singles title, he was going to get, at least maybe a tag. But they didn't even get that, which I'm surprised. I'm surprised they didn't even get that. But here was the predictions on that. And I went with Rusev, Mad, Fly, and D-Shep went with New Day, which they were right on that. I actually thought they were going to, pull the swerve and give them the tag titles. Because it seemed like New Day wasn't set for that push because of what happened with the Bludgeon Brothers, with Roman going out. But overall, I mean, it was a decent match. I mean, obviously the next match on the card was the actual show, and that's Orton and Hardy. Now let's get into this real quick. All right?
Gotcha.
We'll get into this real quick. Now, what was the one thing you expected from that match with Jeff Hardy?
For me, the one thing I expected, the same thing I've been screaming for weeks. I can't stand Jeff Hardy. He's been horrible in the ring as of late. Kind of surprised. I enjoyed this match a lot.
So did I. I really felt it was the match of the card. The one thing that, I was expecting a big bump, and not the crazy bump that you saw with, of course, with Mick Foley, what he did back in '98. But I thought what he did at the end was something unique. But the thing that I liked the most, but even though it wasn't bloody, but you had the chairs, you had the ladders, you had all this stuff out there. And what does Randy Orton go for? He goes into the toolbox and grabs the screwdriver.
Yeah, and you didn't know where he was going. It was great.
It was great. It was great storytelling. And everything that guy has done from, throughout this whole time, during this whole rivalry, during this whole storyline, it was like he was trying to erase Jeff Hardy. That was obviously the rule. You need to come to Hazleton. Oh, I'll try. Not too far from me, actually, for what I found out. Of course, I'm responding to chat if you're listening to this on iTunes. You can watch us live every Saturday night, even though today's Sunday, at twitch.tv/Go Home Wrestling Show. Yeah, just throughout this whole time, like, he was trying to erase Jeff Hardy. But this one was like a different turn. It's like, it was real maniacal, if you get what I'm saying. Like, it just got darker. And, man, was it hard for you to watch that part? When he was just twisting and twisting. I was waiting.
It was one of those that you put your hands over your eyes, but you're still peering the fingers apart just so you can peek through. Because it was hard to watch, but man, it was so awesome at the same time. You couldn't take your eyes away from it either.
No, you couldn't. And it was one of those moments. It's like, this is old school storytelling. You've seen it back in the day in the golden era. Not so much today. I mean, it was really good writing and execution. Even, and you said you're not a big Jeff Hardy fan, but he is what he is. He's a stunt devil, and right. It's not to be negative towards him. That's how he is, and that's his style of wrestling. He throws caution to the wind. That's his style of wrestling. A lot of people like that, and of course there was a big hit during the Attitude Era. Today, I mean, I don't think it translates as well as it used to. But the guy that carried this whole thing, and it was him to carry, because the whole idea of him is to get rid of him, to erase Jeff Hardy, and by that match, I think he did great with doing that, right, and telling the story.
And here's something I'll say about Jeff Hardy throughout the match. My biggest complaint with Jeff Hardy is, over the past several months, you've kind of seen his age in the ring. He's a little bit slow. He's been a little bit botchy. It's almost like he turned the clock back 15 years during Hell in a Cell. He did such a great job, and there really wasn't. I think I saw maybe one botch. Overall, both of them put on a great show in this match. I was highly impressed with both.
And what a match to start. And who would have thought that would have been the better of the two Hell in a Cell matches? But yeah. Would you have thought that? If you would have going into that card, did you think that would have been the better of the two?
No, be honest, going into the card,
yeah,
I was looking for that match to start and end as quickly as possible because I didn't even want to see it. I wasn't interested in it. Man, I was really impressed. I was happy with the result. I actually thought it was better for Randy to win this one. But overall, I was happy with the match. I was happy with the storytelling. I was happy. And if this is the end of Jeff Hardy, was this the best way for him to go? I don't think it's the end of, well...
No, as far as his character. The character is what I mean. I'm sorry, I should have... What's up, D-Shep? Of course, our broadcasting partner is in here. He's not feeling ill. He's not feeling well tonight, guys, so he's not with us. So give him shit in chat. All right. Yeah. So do you feel like this is the end of his character, and then maybe he'll come back as Brother Nero, which everyone's been, talking about? Everyone's been talking that this could be the introduction of the Brother Nero character in the WWE. Which, and on last week's show, I kind of brought it up and alluded to, I thought that's kind of the direction this was heading, that they're going to kill off the Jeff Hardy character, bring him back as Brother Nero, and maybe we see a legitimate tag team form out of that again on Raw. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I think they needed to do something with Jeff Hardy. They had to change that character a little bit because, like you stated a little bit ago, some of the stuff that worked in the Attitude Era doesn't work for Jeff Hardy now. So he's kind of got to reinvent himself within the WWE. And you're correct. And the best way to do it, like everyone was saying about that match, it was too slow. And it wasn't a lot of, high spots like they were expecting with Jeff Hardy. But it told a great story. He doesn't need to do that anymore. And you know what? Seeing that in that match, he's capable of doing it. I'm actually confident that if he comes back as the Brother Nero character, you don't have to do the shit that you were doing in the past. And there was a reason why your brother retired. Meaning Jeff Hardy. I mean, Matt Hardy took the same bumps. He's done just as much crazy shit as he did over the years. So if you want to keep going, and which I think he can, if you want to keep going, you got to reinvent yourself. So I agree with you with that. And hopefully the Brother Nero guy character could be that reinvented. And go home and hits his webcam. Did I hit my webcam? I hit my desk, which has my webcam. So that probably shook it, YouTuber. Thank you. All right, so this is what. Did you have anything else before we go on to the next match, buddy?
No, I think we pretty much covered everything I had written down for the match.
Alrighty. All right, and here's the predictions that we had for that match alone. Orton and Hardy. And here they are. I had, across the board, everyone had Orton. Everyone thinking Orton was going to win. Thought Orton was going to win. And, of course, he did win the match. And, again, I was impressed. And, honestly, my opinion was match of the night. As far as storytelling.
Almost agree with that one. Storytelling-wise, absolutely.
Matt never jumped off the Titantron. You are correct, but he's done some crazy crap, too. I mean, I know Jeff Hardy was the more the, he did the bigger bumps, but Matt did his fair share of stuff too, so he's not completely, it's not like he didn't do anything. So moving along to the third match, second match of the card, Lynch and Flair. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I did not expect Lynch to win. I was surprised that in 1 month she already dropped the title to her. Were you surprised? Because obviously we can address that. You predicted she was going to win. I, as well as D-Shep, we felt that Flair was going to continue with the title, and I thought it was going to be a few months of Lynch chasing the title, but she's a heel. They're not going to have a heel. And I didn't think about that until afterwards, and I was like, it actually makes sense for her to win the title. But how did you feel? Would you actually, even though you predicted it, were you still shocked that they actually went that way?
No, I wasn't surprised at all. And the whole reason I made the prediction is a simple fact. We're seeing, even as a heel, how over Becky Lynch is right now. She's probably more over than she ever has been in her career, period. To me, it was the right time to do this leading into Evolution. Of course, they're going to try to make Charlotte be the face of the women's division, and rightfully so. She's been the top girl there is.
Yeah, of course, without a doubt.
And you could see something leading into Evolution that could turn in to be one of the best. And I'll go ahead and make a bold prediction right now. Those two at Evolution are going to put on the best women's match in history in that pay-per-view.
Wow. All right. Yeah. Well, we could talk about that another time too. I just feel they're not building that card correctly. I think they're missing a lot there, but again, we could talk about that another time. To me, it was a great match, great story to be told, but I'll tell you where they missed a big opportunity on SmackDown. Of course, we'll talk about that when we cover SmackDown later on in the episode. Mm-hmm. But with this one, it was very surprising. The only thing I disagree with this match was the clean win. If she's a heel, wouldn't you want her to come up with at least a dirty win? Because if she gets another clean win, just say at Evolution, you might as well just, boom, you're done with that storyline. She already beat her twice cleanly. I think if she would have beat her in a dirty way, it would have helped extend that storyline. So she better, if she does pull off the victory at Evolution, she's got to win that way if you want to keep it going.
Right. And I agree, and that part of it did surprise me.
Yeah.
I really thought there would be some kind of ticky-tacky finish or controversy, however they wanted to play that. But I think they're also stuck in such a limbo of how they're going to use Becky Lynch right now. We know she's a heel, but she's so over at the same time. We brought it up on several occasions, the Stone Cold factor.
Yeah, it is.
I think they're kind of struggling. How are they going to do this? Because you saw Stone Cold win clean time after time, even when he was playing the heel. So I think they're kind of in that same position with Becky Lynch now because that character is getting so over.
Well, there was something I thought about too, and I'm sorry, I saw something in chat. My apologies. The one thing I want to address though, I guess we can talk about it on SmackDown. I'll go into it a little bit. There's a couple things they could have did with the heel turn with her, and then keep it going. You know what? We'll wait for the SmackDown. I'll bring my. You know what? It will make more sense during that time because we'll cover that. So, like, there's a couple.
We're gonna have quite a bit to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
That session.
Yeah, I think that would be the better time to talk about that. So stay tuned for that. I was surprised with the ending. I was happy Becky won. I just didn't think they were going that way. But after I made the prediction, and then as I'm going into that match, I was like, you know what? It doesn't make sense. You never have the heel chase. WWE is about the face. The good guy chasing the title. Okay? It's rare if it's the other way around. You don't see that. They don't focus on that. This is a face territory. And it's been that way since the Hogan era. And they haven't changed 30 years later. To me, that's how I see it.
But at the same time, if we look at it right now, SmackDown as a whole, who's doing the chasing?
Heels. It was. Yeah, you are correct. And I think, well, yeah, I get what you're saying with that. But, I mean, when they had Nakamura, they had to turn him heel, which I was surprised with. And they had him chase. But in the years...
Still, to me, that one's still a little awkward. But
well, think about the Daniel Bryan back in 2014. And think about the, plenty of, CNN, you name it. And they've had people in the past that would, chase. To me, I just, with this one, I don't know, it was a little weird that they switched it that quick. But again, we'll get into that. And I'll discuss why I don't agree, how they're taking this approach. I get what they're trying to do, but they're missing a bunch of opportunities to really get heat on Becky, and we'll talk about that later on in the episode. So we're going to go a little further on. Here we go. So, of course, let's go with the predictions here. We got Lynch and Flair. Two of us went Lynch, two Flair. EJ, went with Flair. Matt Griff with me right now went with Lynch. Electra Fly, he went with Lynch, and D-Shep Flair. So... two got it right, two got it wrong. So moving on to the next match. McIntyre, Ziggler going against, defending the Raw Tag Team titles against Rollins and Dean Ambrose. Of course, Dean Ambrose's first pay-per-view back since returning from his injury. As far as competing and not being on the side of someone. Great match. I was actually shocked by the ending. Even though I did predict it, but something was telling me that it might not have happened. But overall, it was a pretty good match. How did you feel about the tag team match?
For me, this was the match of the night. All four guys tore the house down. Ambrose, so impressive in his return match.
He was.
Blew me away. And actually doing so much more than what he did before the injury is what really surprised me. We saw some new stuff out of Dean Ambrose, and I was highly impressed by that.
So was
I. You know how I feel about McIntyre. I think he is one of the best talents in the entire WWE right now.
Well, I agree with you. And one question, though. Did you notice the one standout star in that match? And it wasn't Ambrose, wasn't Rollins, it wasn't Ziggler, what you just said. To me, he stood out the most in that match.
Absolutely.
And go ahead. I'm sorry. Finish your thought.
Well, and here's the cool thing about McIntyre. It's not just what he's doing himself. This is, in my opinion, the only person on Raw that is being booked the correct way right now. They're actually setting him up to succeed where they're burying other guys like Elias and many names we've brought up.
Yeah.
But I brought those two up, and then we get to Ziggler and Rollins, and we're going to talk about them some more later in the show.
Yep.
But these two always, every match they are involved in, they bring the house down. They've got such a chemistry.
Yeah, they do.
And I'll go ahead and I'll spoil what I was going to say partly coming up. But those two inside the ring, it reminds me of an HBK Bret Hart type rivalry.
Oh man,
they've got that much chemistry together. It just set that whole tag team matchup to be a huge success.
And yes, they definitely tore the house down. And I agree with you with the chemistry, and you see it every time with Rollins and McIntyre. But going on with McIntyre real quick, you notice with McIntyre compared to Bobby Lashley and compared to others that I mean, that it came in not through NXT. Look at what McIntyre did. He went through the NXT coming back after how many years being away. Mm-hmm. And look where he's at. As opposed to Lashley, as opposed to any other, excluding AJ Styles, obviously. But there's been a few that came in that didn't go through the NXT because they were there before. And look where they're at. And look at the guy that's saying, you know what, I'll go through NXT. And look where he's at. I just noticed that. I'm wondering, would it be different if Lashley would have went through the system? And I'd obviously, given that he was there for a long period of time before, maybe not. But if you want to get reintroduced to the system, because it has completely changed since the time he left, I think it would have been better for him and more beneficial for him to do it that way.
Possibly. At the same time, I've got to look at the counterpart to that one.
Lesnar.
Because I can make the same case for Bobby Roode that he did go through the system, and where's he at now?
Yeah, and that's the exception, obviously, yeah.
There's a catch-22 to it, but I completely agree with you. Lashley needed something else.
Yeah.
I know that we're not really going to get into this one about Raw, but this whole Leo Rush deal with him, maybe this is what sparks his career again. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping hard because Leo Rush is a great mouthpiece for him.
If it is, and it's funny how they're utilizing their 205 talent. It's like, oh, okay, well, yeah. Well, let's see. Oh, yeah, stop it. I know you don't like 205 Live. I got it. Well, here's
AOP. I'm still so pissed off over having him as their manager. I'm just pissed about that one.
Why is that? Why?
Because I can't stand the guy. He's annoying. And
isn't that the point of it?
Yes, but how do you justify having these two huge, dominating guys and then have Maverick out there that looks ridiculous trying to dress up like him? It just, to me, it makes no sense.
Dude, it was like a midget.
You got away with, you had the best manager maybe in history there, and you threw him out? What the crap?
He wanted, well, to be honest, he wanted to walk away. That was his doing. But I get what you're saying. Putting a guy that's in XL clothing that's probably a medium, it doesn't look good. It really doesn't. But I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to utilize their 205 talent. And maybe it might be a good thing for them as far as promo-wise. If you get what I'm saying. Like, to work on the promos and give them more like a way of talking, and what better way than to do the talking for someone that is kind of weak at it. Not every guy's good at it. Leo Rush apparently is good at it. But yeah, he did need a mouthpiece, and it does take away that who was going to be the next Paul Heyman guy. Was there going to be another Paul Heyman guy? And I always thought it would have been either Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley, or Roman Reigns, and neither one of them tend to be that guy. But it's good to see that Lashley got that mouthpiece.
Right. And Get 'em Jones in the chat room just brought it up. Shouldn't have been Drake. Should have been Drew Gulak. I would agree with that one. I think Drew Gulak would have been the perfect guy for AOP.
Oh, I agree with that. No, I agree with
that one completely. That's a great take right there.
All right. So, do we have anything to add on the tag team match before we go on to the WWE Championship?
I think I'm good on that one. Match of the night for me.
All right. I say that's second. I'm still going with Orton and Hardy. I love the story that was told there. Raw is the worst show ever. Get 'em Jones, he got that right out of the four. Unanimous across the board. We all went with McIntyre and Ziggler, so we all were right on that prediction. And then the next match, AJ Styles defending the WWE Championship against Samoa Joe. Great story going into that. He went with the personal angle, going against AJ Styles, and I like the story to be told. The story that was being told is that this is how I translated. You may or may not agree. You seen how, in a way, that during the Nakamura storyline, that he got a little personal with him on attacks. Well, not personal attacks. I'm sorry. He did attacks that brought an aggressive side out of him, and it threw him off his game. And there was a couple times you thought Nakamura was going to win. Samoa Joe knows all his weaknesses, knows him personally, and went with that attack, trying to throw him off his game, thinking that would give him the edge going into this match. I love the story that was told. Of course, that's how I translated all that. And going into that match, I was blown away. Out of all top 3 matches they ever had in all promotions, that's me. I don't know if you agree, but I kind of agree with keeping the title on AJ Styles. So how'd you feel about the match?
Oh, mixed bag here.
Really?
I agree with AJ keeping the title. I think that's the right call. I like the finish of the match. I like the controversy. It really steams up the rivalry.
Yep.
And they needed something else to build onto this. We've talked about over the last several weeks, even though we're enjoying the content, they haven't done a whole lot to build it. So for all those reasons, I loved it. Match-wise itself, to me, it was their second best. There is one in TNA that they put on a bigger show, a better show.
Yeah.
This one should have been drug on longer. I mean, it was a short match for a Samoa Joe AJ Styles match, which seems to be the MO here lately with AJ Styles matches, I guess.
It's kind of that way with all the matches, really. You don't get that kind of fast-paced matches that you saw in the past with that. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
So I was kind of let down by what we saw inside the ring. But everything else surrounding it, it's showing me that they're building a great rivalry here. Something that I wanted to see between Styles and Nakamura. And maybe they actually saved the storylines for the better rivalry. So props to them. They're smarter than I am on this one, I guess.
I do like the personal angle, and yes, I do like that because it will give it one more match because you had the pin, but you also had the tap, which you kind of saw that before too. Right. And someone in chat did say, I don't like dusty finishes, but this one was acceptable. Yeah, it was to extend that match going into Super Showdown for the title. But yeah, I do like that aspect because you get another match, and I would like to see where they go from there. You only got 3 weeks, maybe 4? Hold on, what's the... Actually, October. Damn, that's... No, it was 2 weeks from yesterday, so they got a couple weeks. Now, can I ask you a question, though? With them doing all these shows, isn't it kind of hurting storylines that you got the pay-per-view last week, and 3 weeks later you got another one? It's like, and then after that you got another one. Like, do you feel like that's killing it in a way? Like, I understand they did the super shows back in the day, like if they would do it in a stadium, in between major pay-per-views and Saturday night's main event, but they were only a couple matches that would be over an hour. Yeah, to me, just having these shows, it's good because you get more wrestling, but it's hard for like storylines to build, in my opinion. But I would like to see in the 2 weeks what are they going to do going up to that.
And I agree with that completely. I would like them to see them go something back to, say, 1992 in that range, where we saw 6 pay-per-views a year.
Oh, God. Yeah, it was so much better.
That way we could actually build something and then have a Taboo Tuesday or Saturday Night Main Event, something like that in between as fillers. But I'd say cut down the pay-per-views instead of just, good God, we're up to what, 3 a month now? It's overkill. Way too much.
It is, and it does kill the storylines. The thing I could say, if they were going to go, like, if you want to limit pay-per-views, they should go back to Raw and SmackDown. They combine them again, and they're 4-hour shows. But then if you have one every other month, and then you give that additional month for all the AJ Styles, you get an additional month for them to build on that. And again, you don't have to be in a ring all the time. What they did with that personal attacks, with the story time that Samoa Joe did, it was great storytelling. You told a great story. You built on a storyline. You saw what he was trying to do. He was trying to throw him off his game by going with the personal attacks because he knew that would, distract the champion and would give him the edge. And he knew how to do it because they knew each other for years. But yeah, I just wanted to ask you that. That was my thing. It's just and someone in the chat said they're promoting 3 shows at once. You had Hell in a Cell, Super Showdown, and of course Women's Evolution. I mean, focus at one at a time. It's a clusterfuck, and it is Vince Russo's wet dream. That's for sure. The clusterfuck.
Yes.
All right. So, anything else on the Styles Show match?
That's all I got on that one.
Okay, and here's what we predicted on that match. 2 of us, you and I, went with Styles as Electrofly, and D-Shep went with Samoa Joe. Well, yeah, we won that one. But overall, it was a great match, and I would like to see what they do at the next pay-per-view. Oh, don't forget Crown Jewel. Actually, 4. Get 'em Jones is correct. There's 4 now.
Yeah. I forgot all about Crown Jewels now.
And I will be doing my first ever reaction show for this channel that day, November 2nd, live on pay-per-view from 12 to probably 5 o'clock on that Friday. They're going to do what they did before, which was like my first major event after WrestleMania that I saw on the network. But, all right. So, we're going to move along. World title match. Actually, real quick, before we go on to the next one. How did you feel about the WWE Championship being in the middle of the card?
Yeah. I'll reserve that one until we get to SmackDown. Because I'm going to have another issue with that one, too.
Okay, yeah, I was a little bothered by that. Oh, 3 days before your birthday. Happy birthday. And I'll make sure I'll put that in there and I'll send you a message that day. The next match we got the mixed tag match between Maurice and Brie Bella. We'll just say the Bellas because, let's be honest, that's what they are. Okay? Against Miz and Maurice. And even though we weren't big fans of this, adding the women in, but we understood why they did it.
Give your take. Give me just a second. I got to check on a little one real quick.
No problem. Now, my whole thing with them, it was I did like the build of the first match going to SummerSlam. And then they threw the mixed tag angle into it, throwing the women in. The guys kind of agree with it. Me, not so much. But again, I did understand what they were trying to do with the Evolution pay-per-view coming up. So, going into the match, I was not too excited. But you know what? I have to say this. I was actually impressed by the showing of the women and the men in the match. They told a great story. And at the end of the day, that's what professional wrestling is all about. It's telling a story, and they definitely did that. And again, you showed what could be the self-doubt that Daniel Bryan has, that he can't beat that. He can't beat The Miz. He could call him a coward all he wants, but he can't beat him. He always finds a way to beat him. But this time, it was Maurice that got the pin. They still can't get the victory, but my thing was that... Oh, welcome back, sir. I was just saying, I was actually impressed by the match. Going into it, I was not a big fan of it. I didn't like the angle, but at the end of the day, they told a great story. And I eat my word. Mm-hmm. I eat foot in the mouth, okay? And I've done it before on the show. But this one, I was very surprised. And Legally Blind Lurker, welcome, my friend. So what was your take on the match? I mean, did you like the performance? Did you like the story they told? Let me have it.
Overall, and I alluded to this last week, me and D-Shep both, because I was honestly surprised on the side he was on it. I was really impressed with this match. I enjoyed it. I was highly entertained. Is it the best kind of match we're going to see? No, not even close. I mean, it is what it is. It's what you expect. But overall, highly impressed with Maurice and Brie both. They sold their characters pretty well.
Yep.
And then they keep building this Miz-Daniel Bryan feud. And we're going to get into that, obviously, when we get to the Tuesday night stuff. But definitely, everything's starting to point in the direction you've been saying for weeks and weeks. So, highly impressed. Love what they're doing with the story now.
And that is what I was saying about WrestleMania?
Correct.
Can I tell you that I'm not sure if that's going to happen now.
I think there's going to be a funny... We'll get into that on the Tuesday deal, but I think there's going to be a funny spin to this one.
I actually, for a while, I thought that, but it could still happen. Not only, because we'll get into that as far as the World Heavyweight title is concerned.
As far as being
Go ahead.
The only thing I'll say about that one is who was the most impressive superstar at the greatest Royal Rumble?
Daniel Bryan.
Hands down, right?
Yeah.
So, for some reason, I'm just getting this gut feeling. We're going to see Miz as champ. Their feud's going to die a little bit. And take a wild guess who wins the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, that was my prediction because you saw what they were going to do.
I see it now.
Yeah. I kind of see that, but
So we're switching places on this one now.
oh no. There's a reason. There's a reason for it.
Gotcha.
There is a reason for it, and I would love that. At the end of the day, as a fan, I want that to happen. And if there's any match that's going to put that as a main event match, it will be them two. Any other match on SmackDown for the for the WWE Championship will not be main event. That one would definitely be it. But here's my question now, and we'll get into this further on the SmackDown coverage. Back in 2014, what was you had emotion. You were with Daniel Bryan because he was looked down. He wasn't the average guy. He was a small guy going up against the land of the giants. Triple H did not see him as the champion. It was going against all odds, against the authority. So there was emotion built there. In the time that Daniel Bryan's been back, have you felt that kind of emotion with him at all?
Once.
Where at?
As soon as he came back. And more or less, not maybe emotion in that kind of sense, but the emotion he was back, and it was just the initial comeback. Ever since then, to be honest, even though he's been so impressive in the ring, it's been a dud.
Okay. Now, people have talked about this in the past. What if he was to go, you put that on the shelf for a while, like you said, and then he couldn't beat The Miz. Miz becomes champion, and it's like, wow, that should have been me. And he had that self-doubt. And then he's back to square one. And the build to where you say the Royal Rumble. Wins that Royal Rumble. But he has to be in the early part. And I heard this on another show, and I was like, I totally agree. That's the first thing I thought about, was that. You got to pull that Shawn Michaels victory. Going in at number one and winning the thing. It wouldn't mean anything otherwise. Number two, number three, no. It's got to be number one. And
exactly.
you had a couple that have done that. Chris Benoit, Shawn Michaels. And won. So if he was to do that, then I can see it. Do you think they're going to go that way?
I hope so. It depends on what group of riders we get for the Royal Rumble too. That's the hardest side of it. But from everything I'm seeing from SmackDown, I could see WWE doing something like that. I do want to see him walk in 1, 2, and go through the whole spiel. And then the story we would get from Royal Rumble to WrestleMania would blow what's going on right now completely out of the water. I hope they do, but I'm not going to tell you that I've got full confidence that they're going to book it that way.
Well, we'll see, and we'll get into that further as we go on to the SmackDown side now. So here, let's go with the results of our predictions, and they are as follows. Yeah. I was the only one that went with Miz and Maurice as the winners. Matt Griff, Electrofly, and D-Shep both went. All three of them went with Bryan and Bella.
Dang it, my first loss of the night.
Yeah, first loss of the night. Yep. And to me, I felt they were going to go that way because what I just said, the self-doubt. He couldn't beat him at SummerSlam. Couldn't beat him in this one. And then obviously, Super Showdown, Miz will win. And then, like, if they go with that angle, that's why I went with this. I see it this way. So I've been saying this along, even before David LaGreca. So clip this and send it to that motherfucker.
Well, and
with all love and respect.
On that prediction, you had your booking hat on, and the more I thought about it after the prediction show, it's completely right. This is the way they need to go with this. It should have been Miz winning this, and still not making it look so bad that Daniel Bryan loses and Maurice ends up getting the pin. It was well played out the way they booked this one. Great finish to it.
Yeah, and I was thoroughly impressed in women. Good job. Maurice, good job. Brie, hate to say this, but good job. All right, so we're going to move along to the next match. Ronda Rousey going against Alexa Bliss, my girl. Oh, I love her. The rematch for the Raw Women's title. She, of course, goes into there with plenty of confidence, and yeah, it didn't work out so well for her. She did not. Rousey gets the victory and retains the title. I'm gonna tell you right now, this was the dud match for me.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
there was not much emotion. And again, this is a girl that's green. She's still green, Ronda Rousey. Okay, she's a handful of matches into her career as far as pay-per-view TV and all. She's done plenty of shows, and you've seen tremendous progress in that time. But storytelling, she needs to really work on, and you saw it at full force. You definitely saw it in this match. How did you feel about this match? Because obviously you're on the same page as me, so I would like to get your take on that.
I mean, same deal. I was a little bit impressed that they allowed Bliss to really showcase some offense in this. I really thought it was just going to be a Ronda Rousey come in, kick her tail, we're done immediately.
Yeah.
There was a little bit more meat to the match than I expected. But overall, it was a great time for me to get up and fix some nachos and all that fun stuff.
It was enough for me to pretty much take a good shit and come back, and I was good. To me, and Genom Jones did say it. He goes in chat, so pissed. Every WWE superstar that has a rib injury comes out with their torso taped up. A lack of detail. I get that, and they had to weaken her in a way. Because think about this. Someone brought this up too, and I saw this on a Reddit post, a response to it. Rousey in the last match, when she won the title, she hit Alexa Bliss square in the face, punched her. Mm-hmm. If that was the real world, was Alexa getting up?
Oh.
They screwed up there. So so going into this match, you had to weaken her in some kind of way for it to be believable.
Right.
And I think in a way it's okay, but it was a cheap way. They could have done something else. But again, she's still green. There's not enough to build off of to show a weakness. Besides that, she's fairly new. That's the only thing they have on her right now. But to me, it was a dud of a match. I was not a big fan of it. So, anything else before we go on to the predictions of that match?
No, I'm good to move on from that.
Okay, and here are the predictions of that one. I went with Rousey. Matt Griffin went with Rousey. Electrify went with Bliss, and D-Shep went with Rousey. So 3 of us got it right, 1 got it wrong. Of course, the mark for Bliss, like me, but realistically, I knew she was not keeping the title, and that is it. There you go. Going into the main event, the second of the 2 Hell in a Cell matches of that night. Your Universal Champion Roman Reigns going up against Braun Strowman. Okay, you ready for this one?
Yeah, something tells me we're probably about to be on the same page as this one, too.
What the fuck was that? To me, it was like watching a match during the Attitude Era in early '99. The Vince Russo clusterfuck finish. To me, it was reliving that 20 years ago. It brought me back to the days of me sitting in front of the TV with my hand on my penis, because as a teenager, that's all you did. Watching. Oh, wait a minute. To the women,
for David Arquette to win the title.
Yeah. No, but let me end that, because you know what, there are some kids that are going to download this. So let's keep it PG, okay? Anyways, it was a clusterfuck of a finish, and the one thing that bothered me the most is that you had Ziggler and Ambrose come out and defend, because you had Ziggler and McIntyre come out. Ambrose
had
around
to make it relevant.
Yeah, but here's the thing: you took away from the match. You had a guy chase the title for a long period of time, and every fucking match he's been involved. Sorry for my language. Every match that he's been involved with, they had to come out. It's either you have confidence in him or you don't have confidence in him. You either have confidence in Strowman or if you have confidence in Reigns. One or two, you got to have some sort of confidence with. If you don't, why are they in the main event position to begin with? Why are they in the main event of that card? To me, that even should have been main event. Me personally, probably should have been the WWE title.
Correct.
It was just awful. And I enjoyed the product, and I don't like to be completely critical, but for God's sakes, that whole card was pretty good. Very good. And not bad for the first one after All In, okay? You did a good job, WWE. But you fucked up on this one. What are your thoughts?
Oh, so many parts to this one.
We'll go step by step because this is the main event.
I'm going to surprise you a little bit.
Okay.
As for the match itself, I was actually somewhat impressed with the match, the actual wrestling, not all the antics outside of it.
I agree with you on that one.
The match, and not necessarily on the Reigns side, Braun Strowman carried Reigns throughout this match. He did a great job in this match.
Wow. Okay.
Reigns did have some bright spots. That's what I'm going to say good about the whole thing. Now the fun part.
Okay. Hit me.
There is so many mistakes through this. First of all, let's start with Rollins and Ziggler coming in. It's so pointless to have them even involved in this. I get the storyline, all that fun stuff. But we're not second graders, guys. This WWE universe isn't nothing but second graders. We tune in to watch a product.
Yep.
Not just a circus. We wanted to see the match.
Yep.
Thanks for ruining that for us.
Yeah.
The biggest botch I think I've seen in a pay-per-view in a long time. And I don't know how many people caught this botch either. Did you see the
1, 2, 3? Yeah.
Yes.
With Mick Foley. Yeah. I saw that. And I wonder if they're going to play off that. Or are they going to play off that?
They should, but if they were going to, we should have seen something about it Monday night, right?
Yeah, actually, that flew over my head, and you're right. But knowing them, they probably will go back to that because they kind of went with that with the Greatest Royal Rumble. They didn't address that right away.
Yeah, maybe they do, and they need to. I understand that wasn't part of the plan at all. That was a Roman Reigns screw up completely. He was just late kicking out. But you got to do something with that. That was a horrible botch.
Yeah. And again, if he's doing that, you having all these run-ins, why'd you give the guy the title?
Exactly.
Okay. Again, I will not take away from Roman Reigns. He is an incredible talent. To me, I've always said from day one, he should be a heel. And it's not that old, typical, no, the guy just... He walks as a heel. He talks like a heel. Everything oozes heel. That's what I get when I see Roman Reigns. And it's not a bad thing. He could be a great heel, and I think he could be the top heel. Maybe probably one of the best of this era. And I could see that in him. But honestly, they had this thing of him being the champion and all. And he, on his first defense, he fucks up in the first 5 minutes of the match.
Yeah. Well, and with Reigns, if they would have, when the Shield breakup happened, if they would have taken him as a heel, he could have had that Stone Cold type of career because that's the heel character he would have been perfect at. That style. But they blew it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Now, if they would have turned him heel, a lot of guys that go heel, like The Rock, like Stone Cold, like Triple H, come out on top. And look at the success they've had. Because at the end of the day, I always say heels is what brings the character out of you. Think about Shawn Michaels going heel. Yeah, he was part of the Rockers and he had some kind of persona. But when he went heel, he brought out he reinvented himself, brought out this whole new persona. And look what you came out with. Look what he developed into is what I should say. Mm-hmm. One of the greatest wrestlers of this generation, if not probably top 5 all time. In my opinion, I see that with him, and yeah, they're just so fixated with making him champion, making him the face of the company. But you know what? You want to go think outside the box? Find a way to make a heel the face of the company. If you had any creativity, you would figure that out and go with that. That's my thing. Do you have anything else before we go on?
The only other part, I gotta address the Brock Lesnar run-in.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Go ahead.
And I'm not gonna go into a lot of details on this. I don't want to offend our audience, like WWE apparently wants to offend all of us. Sorry, not taking a shot at WWE there, but it is what it is. if I didn't do this show, I would have turned my TV off the second I saw him come out.
Why is
That's
that?
how I felt about it. I don't care to see him.
Okay.
He ruined so much over the past couple of years that I don't want to even see it.
Shots fired from Griff, exactly. No, I agree with you on that. To me, you know why they did it? Because the Prince wants... That guy is dictating the match. He's pretty much booking that match. He's throwing money here. I want this guy. I want this guy. I want this guy. So that was the way of getting him in there. Because technically he never got his rematch. They're going to do the rematch clause. And then you're going to get the rematch because the match ended the way it did. But here's the one thing I noticed too, since we're going on with that. How many times did it take to beat Reigns, meaning Brock Lesnar back at WrestleMania?
You F5 wise, you mean?
Yeah.
What was it? 6, 7?
So you floored him with one, and you floored the other guy with one. 2 years of building a character, and he gets floored with one F5, and that's it. Match is over. You couldn't continue.
Yeah, and not only that, what was it? 2 months ago, we watched Braun Strowman buried under ladders and tables and all kinds of stuff, and comes out and wins Money in the Bank.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden he's dead on one F5. Really? Come on, guys.
This is where they missed the boat.
I got a short memory, but not that short.
And this is where they missed out because they built in motion, having him get over with the kids, with having the kid tag with him to win the tag titles, having him do the mixed tag challenge, and doing the little vignettes with freaking Alexa Bliss to get the women's side, and it worked. And then they had him win the Greatest Royal Rumble with the possibility of saying, hey, this guy could actually win the Royal Rumble. They put a belt. They had him raise the belt to see the look, and it got a positive response. Then you turn him heel. Because Brock Lesnar is gone and you need a guy to go against Reigns. I got it. Well, why don't you do it the other way around? I mean, you could kind of take that Randy Orton approach with Roman Reigns. You kind of could go that way. And I think he would do a good job of doing that. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't make no sense. And they kind of screwed this match up too.
Yes.
All right, so let's go along. That was the main event. And here we go. The predictions of the main event. I went with Reigns. Magriff went with Reigns, Electrify, and D-Shep. So across the board, we all went with Reigns. And who was the winner of the predictions for Hell in a Cell 2018? And here we go. Drum roll, please. I should have a soundboard on the soundboard for next time. All right, and here we go. In first place goes Magriff with 6-1-1, an impressive card for him. I go in second place with 5-2-1. Electrify and D-Shep go in last place. They're tied for third with a 4-3-1 record. There you go. Congratulations to Magriff. He's the winner for this one. So I got one and you got one. Because
I had to do something after the last pay-per-view. I think I was pretty much shut out. Horrible predictions last time.
All right. You ready to go on the Raw, man?
Let's do it.
All right, let's hit the sweeper. It's time for the Raw Weekend Review.
It is time for the Raw Weekend Review.
All right. Now, you had a really good card. And how would you rate that card before we go on to Raw? Out of 10. Let's go with a 10 rate. Rated 1 to 10.
Yeah.
I go with an 8.
I was going to go with 7.
I'll go with an 8.
The only reasons I would drop it down to 7, obviously the main event.
Main event, yeah.
Hurts the show a ton. And then the Bliss and Rousey match. To me, it kind of took away from part of the show. Outside of that, phenomenal show.
It was a really impressive show, so... How do you respond with that? Well, let's go right into it. Of course, you always got to start with a segment with Roman Reigns, which I got it. He's your Universal Champion, blah, blah, blah. But Roman Reigns came out and called out Lesnar for the interference for the night before. Braun came out, of course, interrupted him and said that he wanted the Beast first, and after that, he was coming for the title. Rightfully so. Then you got to get the guy, the Constable, the GM of Raw, Baron Corbin, came out and announced that they both will get the shot at the Beast at Crown Jewel. Of course, the segment was just to promote the match, triple threat for the Universal title: Lesnar, Reigns, and Strowman. Then you had Heyman come out, and of course, in typical fashion, goes into this long-winded story and did a good job, pretty much saying that Lesnar is missing out on the money from having the title. He wants his rematch, and he wants the title. He wants the money. And of course, Strowman chases him off, and then we'll go into it before Corbin's announced that Reigns will defend that title against Corbin later on that night. So again, that segment was pretty much to promote the match. What did you think they exchanged between the two, between Reigns and Braun?
Yeah.
Nothing there.
It is what it is. It's the same crap we see every single week. Fine, whatever. Got it. I plan on the first 30 minutes of Raw being a Roman Reigns love fest, and I'll go ahead and get all my snacks and stuff ready during that.
All right, so they didn't knock it out of the park. Is pretty much what you're saying.
No, it's dead. And then you just kind of ruined the rest of the show for me by announcing that we're going to see that triple threat. So it's kind of like, shit, this is what we're dealing with tonight.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the one question. Did you think the announcement of the main event did take away from the major announcement of the triple threat? You did think that? Like, it kind of, You're like, here, you're getting your chance of seeing a triple threat between them three. Again, technically. Again, because would you have Fatal 4-Way where you added Joe to that mix on that? Isn't that basically the same match, but you take a Joe out of the equation?
Yeah, but these three had a triple threat. I forgot what pay-per-view it was last year. But these three had triple threat, too.
It was SummerSlam, because it was like right around the time, because I think it may have been a week before the McGregor fight. Because I remember I had to watch them both on I'm not going to say.
I think that's right, because Lesnar and Reigns, Reigns in particular, fired a few shots on Twitter at McGregor right before all that, too.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was right about that time. So, yeah, you're seeing the same match, but, I mean, are you excited with that possible, well, not the possible, with the triple threat? Are you excited for the match, or it's going to be another Do you see anything out of this?
If I was booking in it, then yeah, I'd be excited about it, because there's some stuff we could change and correct. But what I know is going to happen and all that fun stuff, nah, I'm not excited at all.
Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen. You're going to have the Beast and the Monster focus on each other. Reigns is going to sit back and seize his opportunity and win the match. That's what's going to happen. Yep. We all see it happening.
Yep.
But my last question before we go on to the next thing. Of course, you got the second event in Saudi Arabia. And we kind of talked about this already. But do you think it's too much having a second show in Saudi Arabia? Or it doesn't matter? It's just another super show. It doesn't matter.
I don't think it matters that much. I mean, as for the entirety of the show, I am kind of excited about it. Because to me, the Greatest Royal Rumble was actually a lot of fun. Overall, it was a good show.
Greatest World Slide. Sorry.
That was the best moment of the entire show, too.
Yeah, it was.
But there was so much hype around that. If they're able to feed off the same energy for this, this could turn out to be a great deal. Making this the main event, big mistake. Huge mistake.
It is. It's going to be a bore fest. All right. I knew. Oh, he knew I was going to say that. Yes, indeed. One quick thing, though. What do you think of Heyman's involvement in this segment, though? And there's one thing I got to say about Heyman. The guy is talented on the mic. And so talented that he could get people over there not even there. He's never there, but this guy can make... He talks like he's there right next to him. That's how good he is. How'd you feel about his involvement in this segment, though? And we'll move on to the first match of the night.
I love Paul Heyman. I mean, this guy could literally get a bag of dog crap, take it door to door, and sell it to anybody. I mean, that's how good he is, right?
He is really good.
He's insane. And 90% of the time, I'm sure Lesnar doesn't even know what's going to be said going out there. And Heyman brings up, he gives you the perfect storyline in this one, saying Brock's missing his money. And now they're going to be able to feed off that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I love Paul Heyman. He's been one of my favorites for years. So,
well, you know what? We always talk about, like, we did that Best of the Best tournament thing where we talk with the chat and try to figure out who's the best at this, best at that. We should do one as far as managers on the mic. We already did a superstar, which I think we went with The Rock. That was the best overall of all time. Even though it would be pretty much hands down him, but I would like to see who else we would put on there on the mic as a manager.
oof. That'd be
Bobby the Brain would definitely be one of them. I would say
Absolutely.
the Genius I liked. But there wasn't much longevity with the Genius. But I guess we can get into that another time. That would be a good topic. That'd be a good best of the best. But
Jimmy Hart.
oh, definitely. Jimmy Hart definitely will be on there. Bobby the Brain Heenan. Of course, Paul Heyman. I don't know. Maybe you could throw the Genius in there, but there wasn't a long period of time with him, so maybe not.
Oof.
Yeah, we really have to think that. But I think that would be an interesting best of the best tournament that us and the people in chat could vote on. And we'll figure out who the best down the mic as a manager is. So, all right. So, we're going to go along to the first match of the night. I'm sorry?
Oh, nothing.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I had 30 cents on my bad. All right. So, we're going to go into the first match of the night. Dean Ambrose, Drew McIntyre, coming off that great tag team match the night before. And here they are, one-on-one. Great match between the two, in my opinion. Ambrose used a great strategy early on. Of course, how are you going to take a big man down? Someone that's bigger than you? You attack the legs, and he kept him off his feet throughout the match. Kept the momentum going until he made a big mistake and missed a double axe handle and landed outside of the ring. As he came in, the Claymore kick from McIntyre gets the victory. I'm going to ask you right off the bat, my friend Mad Griff, what'd you think of the match?
Phenomenal match. I mean,
I'm with you.
Were we watching Raw or SmackDown? I'm not sure during this one.
I don't know. Preach my brother. Preach my brother. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
But you know, a few weeks ago, Fly was talking about Dean Ambrose, and he's a mark for Dean Ambrose, obviously. And on the flip side, I'm a mark for McIntyre. I have been.
You know what? I'm a big fan of his work. You can be a mark for someone, but you got to call for the appreciation of what they could do. And I'm a mark for him, too. And as a heel, and I've always been a heel guy. I was a heel guy with Shawn Michaels, and that's just how I was. When I did backyard wrestling, I was a heel. That's how I came off, and that's how I love to be. But, man, you got to be able to appreciate what Drew McIntyre does week in and week out. And Ambrose, of course, too, but McIntyre, look what he could deliver. He delivered a great match with Ambrose and delivered matches with not Ziggler, I'm sorry. My apologies. With Rollins. Is there anything this guy can't do?
No, and he puts the talent, whoever he's working with, he makes them look better than what they really are. Let's be honest. Dean Ambrose has a history of not looking good in the ring.
Yeah.
But this entire match, I was on the edge of my seats waiting to see what was going to happen next. They put on such a great show. They probably saved Raw for the night.
Yeah, they did.
Just that one match.
They did, and it was obviously the match of the night. To me, it was probably the match of the week as far as the TV shows are concerned. But you're right about that, Ambrose. But ever since his comeback, he's been different. His whole, I mean, like, everything has changed with him in his moves, the way he tells the story. Like, he doesn't say much, but the emotion. You see the emotion in him. Without saying much words, he is telling the story perfectly. And in that short amount of time, with that injury, he's knocking everything out of the ballpark with that. It is unbelievable, the big change in that short period of time.
And how about his timing? His timing has been so on point
Definitely.
since his return.
Definitely.
I'd like to know who he was working with at the Performance Center on his way back.
I would definitely like to know that, too.
It's kind of funny. All of a sudden, whoever he's working with, it's almost like we got a whole new superstar that made a return. And great job.
Definitely.
He busted his butt to come back better than he ever has been.
Yeah, and thank God, because he is a great talent. I'm going to respond to chat real quick. And, of course, if you listen to this on iTunes, you can watch us live every Saturday night, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, on twitch.tv/Go Home Wrestling Show. And in chat, Freely said, veteran, McIntyre is a veteran, same as Ziggler. Yes, they are veterans, but there could be plenty of veterans that just don't have the talent like they do. I mean, it's more than just the amount of time you're there. It's either you have it, or you're good at storytelling, or you're good at doing the moves. You know, telling the story with the moves. It's all that. You either have it or you don't. And obviously McIntyre has it. And Ambrose came back and could prove that he could do it too. All right, so there was another question I wanted to ask you with that. Even though he didn't get the win, meaning Ambrose, did you think that hurt his the momentum that he's been building since his return? Do you think it hurt him at all?
Yes and no.
Okay. Go with the yes.
The reason I'm going to say it hurt him is obviously you're losing. In my opinion, at some point, we're going to make him the heel guy.
Yeah.
So it kind of hurts his stock in losing against McIntyre.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, God, he put on such a performance and sort of lost on a technicality, a surprise Claymore, you know? So it wasn't like it was a super weak way to lose. So I think it could potentially build his momentum as well. It's a double-edged sword on that one.
Yeah, I agree with you. Oh, that's a good take right there. And then going on with that, was it a good idea for that clean victory by him though, with McIntyre, getting that Claymore? I mean, wasn't it good to show how strong he really is?
Yes, I'm in 100% agreement with the way they finished that match. McIntyre, I've been saying it for a long time, needs to get vaulted up, and they're putting him on the track to do it. So, loved the way they finished that one. He needed a clean finish to continue his dominance.
And I totally agree with you on that, also being the mark of McIntyre. So it is kind of a bias, but it is what it is. So we're going to move along to the next notable thing on Raw, and that was, of course, Undertaker making his return to Raw, addressing the remarks from Triple H the week before. I did have the clip. I forgot to put on the soundboard, so I'm just going to talk about what he said. And obviously he talked about what Triple H said, but here is the marks he said. And what he said was that Triple H, it's not the same Triple H that he's going to face. His battlefield was the ring. Now his battlefield's the boardroom. Pretty much knocking on his corporate character. And that's what he is now, and not what he was 15, 20 years ago. The game. Yeah, that was pretty much the promo. And to me, I don't think it was a good promo by The Undertaker. He wasn't really always that strong guy on the mic. But the week before, when he had that interaction with Shawn Michaels, there was something there, and it was great. This one, not so much. And I was hoping that Triple H would have came out for this encounter. You know, I'm sure they will probably have in the next 2 weeks that you'll have them in the same ring before the Super Showdown match. But I was kind of expecting at that moment. It was kind of a dud for me. How did you feel about that promo? Obviously, I don't know if you're on the same page of that. It was a dud.
I'm not going to say it's a dud, because anytime The Undertaker comes to the ring, nothing's going to change from time I was 6 years old to now.
Yeah.
The hair on my arms are going to stand up. I'm going to get the goosebumps, and I'm going to listen and hang on every word he says. At the same time, man, it's hard to understand. Age catches up with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And it is kind of depressing to see almost a shell of what we used to see from The Undertaker. And you were kind of right on point. His promos are always the best when he's got somebody else in the ring to go back and forth with.
He's good at feeding off of someone. He's definitely perfect for that.
So when he comes out there on his own, it comes off a little creepy and just boring at times. So,
no, I'm with you on that.
So, I mean, I love seeing him out there, but at the same time, I would have cut that promo down a whole lot more than leaving it what it was.
Yeah, if they could have done it a different way, and there's so many ways you could go with it, but all it is going to be talking. They're going to go with the old-fashioned talking before the actual show. So, I mean, I think you will get an encounter between them two in the ring before the event. I hope they go that way. I definitely do. But to me, it was kind of a dud compared to the other one. Compared to the other one, it is. I just don't think it built anything towards the rivalry. Anything towards the match at Super Showdown.
I agree.
Now, obviously, the whole thing was to announce that he's going to have Kane by his side. My question to you, was it even worth the time and going through all that to announce Kane will be on his side at Super Showdown? Because obviously Michaels is going to be on Triple H's side. And how do you feel about Kane being on his side at that show for that match?
Jeez.
Now, for people that are listening to this on iTunes, my partner here, Matt Griff, is actually covering his face with the hat in frustration. So let's hear what he has to say about that. Go ahead.
It is awesome that all four of these guys can get back together and all that fun stuff. It's great to walk down memory lane.
It is. Definitely is.
But am I going to watch this same crap I watched a couple of WrestleManias ago when I saw Triple H against Sting and NWO and DX and everybody coming out? Am I just turning this into a gimmick match? Or am I actually going to get a good wrestling match out of this?
It started out that way, but I don't think it's going to end that way.
Exactly. And it just kind of ruined the whole mystique of this match and something I was so in for. I was pumped for this match. And now it's just kind of like, shit, they're doing it again.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's how I feel about it. It's just, dang it.
It's just like the Red Sox back in the day, before they won the title in 04. All these chances, 86, you think, oh, they're actually going to do it, and boom, the curse hits them, and they lose it all. It's like that. It's kind of like the same thing. The moment you think creative's actually going to do something right, they sweep that rug right away from you, right underneath of you, and you fall flat on your face and go, what the fuck? No more surprises, Get 'em Joe says. It would have been so much better for Undertaker to get in the ring at the pay-per-view and then Kane's music hits. Yeah, that probably would have been a better way to do it. But I don't see the point of him being in it. If again, they're doing it like the Braun Strowman thing. If he's so powerful, why did he need a guy by his side? If he's this ageless character, I mean, would you be able to take care of them both? Meaning Triple H and HBK. Because obviously he did it before because it was kind of a 2-on-1 match in the Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania. And who won? Knock, knock, who won? So I see...
Taker.
Yeah, exactly. So if he's this ageless character, if he's so powerful, he doesn't need his brother. To me, I mean, I didn't... Even though D-Shep was a mark for that whole Team Hell No thing, it was a complete dud. Kane is well beyond his prime. Focus on your political career. Congratulations on being mayor. But as far as being a wrestler, just retire.
You said it.
Just retire, my friend. You're an intelligent guy. You're going to be a great mayor. But as far as being that great wrestler, yeah, given by that match with Daniel Bryan, your time has came and gone. And I think it is came and gone a long time ago, my friend. All right, so we're going to... Do you have anything to say before we move along to the next thing?
No, I'm just glad you said it because you said it a lot nicer than I was going to, so...
Oh, that was... Yeah, trust me. I had another way of saying it, but let's be nice because Glenn Jacobs is a nice guy. All right, so...
Yes, he is.
Yes. And we kind of agree on political... Yeah, I'm not going to get into that. All right, moving along. Next match we're going to cover is the Seth Rollins-Dolph Ziggler match. Of course, it is Ziggler's quote-unquote rematch clause match. Of course, it was set up earlier in the night by Baron Corbin because Rollins wasn't in the arena at the time, and they don't think he was going to be able to compete, so he's like, oh, we'll book this match. If he can't compete, you get the title back. And, of course, Ziggler was like, all right, I'll do it. Then Rollins was informed, and he said he was going to do it. They go into the match, and I must say, again, never ceases to amaze. To me, it was another good match between the two. They both sold their injuries perfectly. A lot of people were critical on Twitter, and I was like, how? Because one example, if you allow me for a second, was the Rollins Falcon Arrow. He couldn't perform that. Why? His back was hurting. He hurt his back the night before in that big bump at Hell in a Cell. So they sold their injuries pretty good. They can't be completely immobile. Is that what people want? So to me, it was a good match. Of course you had to go with the... Well, I have a theory where it could have went the other way, but obviously Rollins did get the win with the curb stomp. My question to you is, you got my feelings in the match. What are yours, my friend?
I alluded to it during our Hell in a Cell recap.
Yeah.
These two got such a chemistry. Again,
Definitely do.
Bret Hart against HBK. It reminds me of that kind of chemistry. And I get it. Everybody wants them to be so devastated from this big fall the night before. Let's be honest. We've seen a lot bigger falls than what happened the night before.
Yes.
It wasn't
Maybe
something
20 years
just,
ago.
Yeah. A couple times. So, are they going to be injured a little bit? Yes. But they're going to come out. They're still going to be able to perform, move around, blah, blah, blah. They did a great job. And how they presented it by slowing the match pace down, which, man, that was brilliant. Slowing the pace down.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it made their talent shine through even more how good they are.
And it did tell that great story because Ziggler, I mean, like you saw the desperation that he showed in that at certain points of that match, and Rollins, going with that workhorse thing and fighting through it, and despite being really hurt, the back hurting, it's just, again, yeah, great storytelling, and it's matches like this. It's like creative has something going, but this is more the execution of the wrestlers as opposed to creative. They can just book it. You got to have your talent to be able to translate it on how they, translate for what creative presented. And this is another one. Okay. I saw something in chat that distracted me. My apologies. So yeah, it was a great match. Now here's one question I got. After Super Showdown, because obviously you got that 6-man tag match. Mm-hmm. You got that. I feel this should be the final match with him and Ziggler. Even though they got great chemistry, do you think it should be? He should go on to another challenger for the IC title, and if so, who would it be?
Yes, he should end with Ziggler. It's ran its course. They've done every match possible that we can think of. I mean, we've done so much there. So the story's got to come to an end.
Yeah.
Who does he face next? That's where I've got a problem. Because who is that guy? Who is the next heel to face Rollins? Is it Dean Ambrose flipping? Possibly. I don't really want to see that, but not in this particular case anyway. I really don't want to see McIntyre chasing the Intercontinental title. So the only thing I can really think of is we either, one, got to somehow dig Elias out of the ground that he's been buried in.
I applaud you. I am so with you. Thank you.
Or
we
got to flip Lashley to heel. One of the two's got to happen.
All right, I'm with you as far as either Elias or a guy that you had been a heel down in the NXT level and is in a tag team right now, which I get. It's kind of turn him heel, have Rude chase the title. Imagine the matches that you have with them too. And it could be done. And it could be something simple that could start that storyline. It could be anything. It could be anything. It could just be a simple match with Gable and Rude with Rollins and Ambrose. It could be something simple. Because the biggest rivalries, the biggest stories told, always starts from something simple. I knew you were going to say Rude. Oh, well, I mean, it's kind of a given. Who else is in limbo at this point? You got
Yeah.
Him in limbo. You got Elias. He's in creative limbo. Like,
Elias is dead.
yeah. And these are two great talents. I mean, it is frustrating to see where they are with them two characters.
Mm-hmm.
I want him to be heel so bad. And obviously you mean him rude because, yeah, I saw his work as a heel. He's an incredible heel. Just like Roman Reigns. Just like many characters. You know, that could be Finn Balor. Finn, I don't know.
And that's a whole different topic, though.
Yeah.
If you're not flipping him heel and having him chase the IC, he's not really going to see the Universal title hunt for obviously quite a while to come.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do with Finn at this point?
Yeah, he could be. But I think either Rude or Rude or Elias has got to be the top two. Hold on.
Bless you.
Thank you. I had to do that off my apologies. Oh man. All right. So yeah, either one of them has got to be that guy. But I guess we'll see what they're going to go with. But obviously, I think after the 6-man tag, they're probably going to turn their focus away a little bit from that. Hopefully they do. Well, hopefully they don't drag this 6-man tag thing to the ground, which I kind of have a feeling they're going to. But you're going to have a contender for the IC title. And I think we agree it could either be Elias or Bobby Roode. All right, so moving along to the main event of the evening. Roman Reigns defended his Universal Championship against Baron Corbin, the GM. Of course, the match went back and forth in the beginning, and then the champion started to gain momentum after a series of running clotheslines and, of course, running around the ring and just knocking around. And at one point, I love this, how Corbin just threw the chair and right at Reigns. I don't know why I found that part funny. Of course, he was disqualified. He threw shit fit, said, hey, I'm the GM. I'm going to continue this match under a no DQ contest. And right away, you got Ziggler coming out with McIntyre, and then the clusterfuck again. And then Reigns gets the spear, beats Corbin, retains the title. I don't even know if I even have to ask you this question, but I'm going to. And I'm sure the people in the chat want to hear this, and the people listening to the podcast wants to hear this. What did you think of this match, if you could call it that?
What the fuck? That's what I think of that match.
It's another cluster.
It's just... I'm pissed. Baron Corbin is doing a great job
Definitely
playing this
is.
heel character.
Mm-hmm.
He's knocking it out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
Reigns, as we've stated several times, could be a great superstar. Really could be. And then they want to treat us like we're second graders, and we're going to buy into the worst chair throw I've ever seen in my life. I mean, good God. And Reigns overacting that one so bad. Jesus.
I thought it was funny. I don't know why, but it was funny.
The whole thing. It was funny. That was kind of the issue with it. It's just like, you're not giving us anything to really work with in this. So I didn't care for the match one bit at all. Again, thank you, Raw, for ending Raw in another piece of crap way like we've seen week after week after week.
Yeah, definitely. Going on with that, yeah, I agree with you with how the chair throw, and he oversold that. But here's the one thing. With the main event of Raw and the main event of Hell in a Cell, the constant outside distractions, which begs the question, if you don't have confidence in him, why you got to continue with that? Why is every match that Roman Reigns is involved, Ziggler and McIntyre got to come out, and then Ambrose and Rollins have to come out? Why can't you just let them have their match? I think Corbin is capable of doing a match with Roman Reigns, and I'm sure Reigns is capable of carrying, maybe. But with the botch that he did at Hell in a Cell, and then obviously this, to me, it seems that they don't have that confidence in him. Again, the question, why is he champion?
I agree. And here's my take on this one. The reason they're having all these distractions is because they literally know that if they leave Roman Reigns against whoever, Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman, if they don't have some... if they don't have somebody else coming out to the ring and causing some kind of distraction, the WWE Universe is going to get out of their seats and walk out during the main event.
You're right. Yeah, they'll boom. I forgot about that point too. No, you're right with that. It's the rub. It's all the rub right there. And again, I think it's not what the fans want. I think it's, as far as creative, it's more logical for him, because how the fans. I tell you right now, if he again, meaning Reigns, if he just talked like a face, came off as a face, like if he came off that way, I think the fans will accept it. But I think the fans accept him as a heel, just like with Becky Lynch. Okay, she comes off as a face. She doesn't come off as a heel. She could play the heel role perfectly. We'll get into that. But the fans are going to see it a different way. Now, you could do things that get him over. Just they haven't taken that approach yet. There's a way to do it. What it is, I don't know. But there is a way to do it. And to me, they're being lazy when it comes to that. They just think they can just do it and that's it, and people can accept it. And like you said, that we're second graders. So I agree with you on that. All right, so
you're almost at the point that maybe we do need to have the title taken off of Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns kind of needs to restart. Don't hang around that title picture. Get him out, and all of a sudden he's gone for a month and comes back and attacks Rollins or whoever it is, and transition that heel role, and then climb up to go after the title. Then I bet you anything, you're going to see the WWE Universe actually cheering Reigns over what we see now.
All right, I like that. All right, well, going from the two great matches to the fuck up of the main event, how would you rate Raw this week from 1 to 5?
I'm going to go ahead and say a 3.
That's fair. That's a fair number.
Based on those two matches, and one other thing I did like in there, Rousey calling out the open challenge, and the way they hinted at that rivalry going to start between Natalya and Rousey, that was pretty. I liked the little message that got sent there. So I'll give it a 3 based off those 3 topics. Everything else was straight filler garbage.
Man, we are on the same page tonight, because I was thinking the same thing. 2 great matches. The opening segment, obviously they went too far to, promote the triple threat. The Undertaker was a miss for me, just to get announced that Kane is involved with the Super Showdown match. And then the main event was a complete clusterfuck yet again. Again, for the rub. But the matches with Ziggler and Rollins, and then McIntyre and Ambrose, man, that's what made it a 3. It would have been a complete 0 if those 2 matches weren't on that show that night. All right, let's go on. Let's hit the sweeper. Now it's time for the SmackDown Live review.
It is time for SmackDown Live Week in Review.
All right. Let's fix this real quick. Yeah, that was my impression of Matthew McConaughey. All right. That's what I get for watching Dazed and Confused last night. Anyways, this is the SmackDown Week in Review, and I mean, we had a decent 3 out of 5 for Raw. How's SmackDown going to be? Is it going to be better? Is it going to be worse than Raw? Well, let's get right into it. The opening segment, Miz TV, one of the hottest segments on TV today. Miz starts the segment off with a huge announcement that he will face Daniel Bryan once again, but at Super Showdown. Here's the stipulation. Winner gets a shot at the WWE Championship. Probably going to be at Survivor Series. They didn't specify that, but I'm pretty sure that's where it's going to be. Then he brings in his special guest, the hot and lovely Maurice. She came to announce that she's taking time away to raise their kid. Obviously, that was going to happen. Then Miz called out Bryan, in which he did respond. And he came in red and attacked Miz. And at one point, knocked the Miz into Maurice, which was an incredible. Talk about a botch. Yeah, we'll get into that in a second. Of course, they played it out to where it set up Brian for a possible skull crushing finale. He, of course, escaped that. At the end of the segment, he came out on top, chasing the Miz out of the ring. Now, you had that one segment on Raw, the opening segment, to promote the triple threat at the Crown Jewel. What did you think of this segment promoting the match between them two for the WWE Championship at Super Showdown? How do you feel about that? And how do you feel about the match? We'll get into that as well. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's just funny. SmackDown and Raw. We can take the same topics, same situations for storylines, and it's a whole different setup. First of all, you got one of the best mic guys of our generation coming out to make the announcement.
Yeah.
Does a great job selling it. I know me and you were always on the same page with The Miz. He's the best heel in WWE. Well, not best heel, but close to best heel in WWE right now.
What would you say is above him? Ciampa?
Ciampa.
Well, all right, well, keep Ciampa out of it because he's not up in the main roster. If you go with main roster,
So,
who would it be?
Main roster is going to be Miz.
Huh? No, I'm good. Sure? Yeah, I'm sure. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But as for the way they did the announcement, I loved it. I mean, and it adds so much more, and they just keep, it's kind of like peeling an onion. You're getting one little piece at a time, and I'm enjoying it. They kind of built this rivalry so slow, and then now we're starting to see how great it really can be.
And you're right with that. Is that, yeah, they threw the woman in again. Like I discussed it, I think it was for the women's evolution. That's what they were going with, which, okay, fine. But it was to extend on that. Like, to go on with that was the shot at the title. This is what threw me off a little bit. But now that I'm more thinking about that, maybe they're probably going to go with that. Because we discussed it a little bit. That, yeah, maybe build that sympathy back for Brian at going into that Royal Rumble. But the fact that they added this stipulation would be the final send-off to this rivalry for now. Then you got a few months. You got 3 months before the Rumble. In Arizona, Chase Field, probably going to be about 70,000, 80,000 people. The self-doubt. The man that thinks he can't do it anymore. Why did I come back? I should have stayed where I was at. Being the GM. Going into that Rumble. Number one. Outlasting everyone. Going 60 minutes. And winning. To face the guy that he calls a coward. And being the main event. And I can see that being the main event. Now, I'm with you. Like, it was the same segment, but they did it. They knocked it out of the park with this one, as opposed to Raw. It is what it was. My question for you, though, logically, and if you're creative, who would you have won? I know how you feel, but who will come out on top of that match?
I'm actually struggling with this a whole lot. Because a lot of me wants to say Daniel Bryan. Like, I want to see the guy succeed. He's come through so much. I want to see him do something with him huge.
Mm-hmm.
And just like you brought up, I don't think that time's now.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you, yeah.
Logically, I think it's got to be The Miz that comes out of this with that title shot. And not to mention, if AJ still got the title, that's going to be a fun rivalry, too. The Miz against AJ. I'm going to enjoy that one.
I heard that on another program. Then I've also seen that on social media and also on Reddit. Because that was a topic, was like, would you accept a triple threat at WrestleMania between them three? And I'm like, how would you get them all into a match together? How would that work? Could it work? I'm sure you could do it, because way creative is way better on SmackDown, let's admit that. I'm sure they could find a way to make that work. But how would they make that work? And it could be something simple that could get that all going.
I guess you could go back to the WrestleMania 22 setup of Orton, Angle, and Mysterio.
But that's been used. I mean, if you really want to be creative, you got to do something different. Because again, you got to try to relive the magic from WrestleMania 30. And there's You got to do it the right way, or else it's not going to have that same oomph as it did before. That same excitement, that same emotion that you got 4 years ago. At that point, it'll be 5.
So what if, just for instance, Miz does take the title before the Rumble? AJ and Daniel Bryan have some unclear finish at Royal Rumble, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then they have an unclear finish, and I forgot the pay-per-view in between.
It's usually Fastlane. Fastlane.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it's usually Fastlane.
Because of that, we don't have a clear-cut number 1 contender. Paige is going to make it triple threat, blah, blah, blah. And we go from there. I mean, I could see that being a route. Do I want to see it? No.
I think it should be a one-on-one. And, again, and it's weird because... here's why I don't want Styles. For some reason, they don't got confidence with him being the main event guy. Because this is the other topic. Is why isn't the WWE Championship the main event? Where they are clearly the better matches. And despite who it is, dude, how can you deny that AJ Styles is the best wrestler in the world right now? How can you deny this guy of main event? The guy, if he's on the card, should be main event. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The guy proved it in the match later on we're going to be discussing the show, with Andrade Cien Almas. The guy is a proven god. What he's able to do at this age, he's doing better than guys half his age. And the guy's 40 years old. Now, because of that lack of confidence, if you were to put them in a triple threat, that won't be main event. But if you put Bryan and Miz together, I have a feeling that would be main event. They will end the show that way. And you will end the show with Bryan obviously coming out on top with the title.
Right.
But how they would build emotion, get people on his side again, have people feel bad for him like they did 4 years ago, that's what they got to figure out how they're going to do it. So, that's enough. That's all I have to say about that. We'll see where they go. It's going to be exciting. Let's see how creative goes about that. Are you ready to move on, sir? Because we got a hell of a match to cover right after that.
I'm ready.
All right, the U.S. title was on the line right after that with Shinsuke Nakamura going against Rusev Day. Just as good as they did in English. All right, there we go. Great match between the two. Of course, Aiden English distracted Rusev. He was set. He looking like he was going to come out on top, win the title. Of course, he got distracted. Nakamura gets the win with the roll-up. Despite the little weird ending, what did you think of the match? And we'll get into the part after that, though. What did you think of the match?
I want to see it again. Over and over. This was such a good match. These two really put on a show. And from what I've read from different people over the past week,
yeah,
not near as many people appreciate what they saw from Nakamura and Rusev Day as there should be, because they put on one heck of a show, and they are lucky to see that on a regular episode of SmackDown instead of pay-per-view.
Can we say for the most part that most of the people in the WWE universe are dumb shits that don't know what they want?
Absolutely.
I mean, how can you not appreciate the match? How can you not like the fact? I mean, Nakamura and Rusev, they had an incredible match. Of course, there was nothing built to it, but you saw there was a story there. Rusev couldn't get the world title, when he faced Styles. Could not capture the tag titles. But here he is, chance getting the title, the United States title, one step higher than where he was before. He had the title before, but this would be a good step for him. Of course, he was denied of that opportunity. But of course, what happened after the match? The thing that we didn't want to happen, the thing that we thought wasn't going to happen, but it finally happened. Aiden English turning on Rusev Day, attacking him, beating him with a mic. Hell of a weapon choice. Leaving him down on the ground, and he walks out. Were you surprised that they finally made him turn?
No.
No? Okay.
No, I've actually been expecting this for about 3 weeks now. Aiden English has been impressing me so much in the ring, and from what I understand, he's impressing WWE a lot in his in-ring stuff. So how are you going to really get this character over? It's not going to be tagging with Rusev. You got to make him face Rusev.
And now, can you think you think this is going to be a one-off match, or do you think they're going to do at least a couple pay-per-views out of that?
I think there's going to be a couple of these. I think it is, and this is just solely my opinion on it, I think it's going to be such a big deal. I honestly think this is going to take some major heat and be a main card show or match instead of just being, your warm-up shows.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's going to be a big deal.
I'm with you as far as Rusev. Now with the split, I saw this throughout social media and Reddit and all. They feel like this is going to be suicide for both guys. Rusev Day, not so much. Aiden English, I think the split's going to be a negative impact on him after their storyline. Unless if they could come up with something for him afterwards. But to me, can you take him seriously as like a major competitor? My question is, can you see him even competing for the world title? Meaning Aiden English.
World title? No way.
Exactly.
No way. Now, U.S. title, I think there could be something between him and Nakamura.
Well, yeah, you could be right, but I feel this would have it's going to be more negative for him than Rusev Day. Rusev is a great talent. You saw the match with Nakamura. You saw the match with AJ Styles. Look at the match he had with him. He has it in him. And yeah, I would like to see how they go about this. I'm actually excited for where they're going to go with this, but I'm just looking at, like, as far as creative, where they're going to go with these two guys and who's going to have the bigger negative impact from that split. I feel it's going to be Aiden English. It's obviously going to be him. But, all right. Of course, you weren't surprised. I actually kind of was. I kind of, like, ignore all that rumor shit that you see out there. I just like to see the regular news. I want to be surprised. I'm that old school type of guy. All right, so we're going to move along real quick. Now, I had this on there. Randy Orton continuing to be, knocking it out of the park. This was a unique segment. He was in a production truck, pretty much manhandling, bullying the production guy, basically. Having to replay all the videos of the things that he's done to Hardy, and he's just relishing into what he has done to him. That he potentially ended Jeff Hardy. Not Brother Nero, Jeff Hardy. Hold on. And I'm trying to find it. Where's it at? I'm sorry. I had the clips. And here, I'm going to share with you real quick. I'm going to share the system sound so you can hear it. And here's a couple things that I liked about what he said on this. So let me bring it up. I apologize. I should have had this ready. This is not good for a podcast. Here we go. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Damn it. What the hell is it? I am so sorry. Ah, fuck. I had it. Here we go. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. I labeled it wrong. Oh my god, I am so sorry. Ah, fuck it. Basically, that was a raw moment.
Hang on just a second.
Yeah, I fucked that up. Basically, he said, if you see everything that you did here, just imagine what I'm going to do to my next opponent. And that was the thing I wanted to play for you guys, but obviously I screwed that up. Oh well. Basically, in that show, he's going to move on to his next guy. Or could it be possibly, you ended Jeff Hardy, can you bring in Brother Nero and start a program with that and continue on with Hardy and Orton? But is there anyone in between? And who is that guy? Obviously, my partner stepped aside real quick, so I'll continue on with it. Oh, here he comes right now. Now, what I was just saying there was that he was in the production truck, enjoying what he saw, what he was doing to Jeff Hardy. What did you think of the segment? And my question to you, he said the one line is, do you see what I've done here? Imagine what I'm going to do to my next opponent. Who is that next guy you feel is going to be, pretty much Randy Orton trying to delete.
And this is where I have a tough time. because for a long time I was saying the next guy he's going to go after is the world title and go after AJ. We can't really go after AJ because, like we've discussed, he's probably going to be in a pretty good rivalry with Samoa Joe for a while to come. So do you go after Nakamura, who's the other heel? So I'm kind of struggling with this a little bit, who he's going to face.
Well, who was the one that said Rey Mysterio?
That wasn't me, but that would actually make a lot of sense.
I think it was
there's a lot of history there, too.
Exactly. And the fact that he is officially signed with them only means one thing, that he's probably going to be on SmackDown 1000. That could be a step towards that rivalry, that you could build some off that. So that's why I feel that could be the next guy. And yes, he has history with them. And yes, 2006 was a big one where he had the opportunity of recapturing the title, and Rey Mysterio got in the way of that. Not once, but twice. So that could be something. And again, something simple could create a big thing. A big storyline that could go on months and months. But I feel it could be him. I agree. If I am correct, I think it was D-Ship that came up with that. And I totally agree with him. I think he would be the next guy. But if it isn't him, I don't know anyone on the roster that he could do that with. At least right now. Because a lot of these guys are pretty fairly new. That doesn't have a lot of history with him. The only other one I could think of, Bray Wyatt. That could be another one. But he's on Raw. He's not on SmackDown.
So what if we do this? What if The Miz does win that match against Daniel Bryan, and that's going to die off? What's Daniel Bryan going to do in the meantime? Is that the guy Randy Orton's targeting next? I know we've seen it before, but I also think they could bring new elements to that rivalry, especially in the character Orton's playing right now.
Well, if you're going to go with that, are you going to go from one success to an immediate failure? Or you want to try to extend this a little bit longer and have him succeed again, and then eventually someone knocks him off? If they could be someone in between there, yeah, I could see that going, but that's only a 3-month span. I don't think they could. They went with Hardy, a couple months? I don't know. Who we could go with, I guess we'll find out again. And I don't know. I feel it should be Rey Mysterio, and the fact that they signed him, I can see him going back there. But, and of course, you're going to sign someone. One thing you got to take into effect, too, you want a face like that when they go on to Fox. Rey Mysterio is one of those wrestlers that the kids gravitated to. So that's why I feel he's going to go on SmackDown. And he signed, for what I've read, it's a 2-year deal. So he's going to be into that transition over to Fox on Friday night. So we'll see from there. We'll see.
That's the only way I see it making sense is Mysterio right now. Unless all of a sudden they flip Nakamura again to go face, but
and then surely
they're not going to do that.
Nah, that wouldn't make sense.
I don't know. They just did it to Braun Strowman, so
yeah, that was a 2-year build, but that's a few-month build that you got this guy that you want to hate, and then all of a sudden switch him back a few months later. Yeah, I don't see SmackDown doing that so much. Raw, I would agree with you on that one. But of course, it'd be great to see where they go with that, and we'll find out in due time. All right, going in from that great segment with Randy Orton to an incredible match. The world champion, WWE champion AJ Styles goes up against Andrade Cien Almas. An excellent back-and-forth contest between the two, but AJ Styles got the win with the Styles Clash. Something you don't see a lot of. But that transition into that Styles Clash,
oh man,
unbelievable. And then, of course, at the end of the match, you got Samoa Joe that attacked AJ from behind, only to be countered this time, and he gained the upper hand to end the segment. My question to you, my friend Griff, what did you think of the rematch between these two competitors?
Better than the first one. And the first one
I'm
was
so
phenomenal.
with you, my friend. Yes, it was.
We're seeing the future, and the future looks good. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
But enjoyed this match from start to finish, on the edge of my seat. The transition into that Styles Clash, I've never seen anything like that. That was so incredible. So, I'll leave it at that. I mean, loved it. Great match.
It was a great match between the two, and And again, I know like Andrade, they're not investing so much into him right now because, of course, he's learning the English language. He's not fluent in English, but I heard in a recent interview he's getting better with it. And you see it in the promos. He says a couple of lines. He's getting a lot better at it. And if you want a guy, to be one of your top guys, obviously you want him to speak the language. It's nothing to be offensive about. It's just, it is what it is. That's what you want.
Right.
If you want your audience to be able to hate him or like him, you got, in some way you got to get them, or you get him to speak the language. But the point is, despite that, dude, the story he tell with the moves, his emotion, knocks it out of the park. Does a great job. Just in the match, you can see with the very few matches they had together, and I don't think they've had it anywhere else. Incredible chemistry between them two.
Absolutely. Without a doubt.
All right. Well, I had another question with that, and let me bring that up. What do you think of the, like, despite the fact that he lost again, how do you feel about the creative having him going up against these great competitors but falling to every one of them so far?
I hate seeing him lose every time, but at the same time, I like seeing him in that elite range of facing these kind of guys. You're obviously not going to have him beat AJ right now with everything AJ's going through, but you're throwing this guy because you really don't have a set place for him at the moment.
No, you don't. But
you're throwing him out there to see what he can do, and depending on which way they go, now you're setting up for a future. Is he going to go after... Is he going to end up being a face and go after Nakamura? Is he going to end up being heel, going after Styles? They can pretty much do whatever they want with this guy, and he's talented enough to do it.
Okay, now we're going on with what we were discussing earlier in the show and recently. With everything with the Royal Rumble, maybe him dropping the title. Could you see a program with them too? When he finally does drop the title.
AJ and...
Almost. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what I'm thinking, that they're trying to build slowly. It's like, okay, there might be something there in the future. That's what I saw with that. And
I can only hope so.
Be interesting matches, that's for sure. All right, do you have anything else? And then we'll go into the, I guess you would call it the main event. It wasn't even a match, but...
the only thing I'm going to add to that one...
Yeah?
Almas does not get enough credit.
No, he doesn't.
Throughout the universe. This guy, and I'll be the biggest one on it. In NXT, I wasn't a huge fan of him, but he has won me over like no other in the past couple months.
Really? You weren't a fan of his
talents there are.
You weren't a fan of his matches?
I really wasn't. I mean, I enjoyed his matches, but everything as the total package. I just wasn't a big fan of him. It was kind of like, oh, he's on TV again, whatever.
I thought him and McIntyre was great.
It was, that match was phenomenal. Don't get me wrong there.
Yeah.
But that's when I kind of started flipping the switch. It was right there. And then everything he's done since then, every time he gets in the ring, I mean, for crying out loud, he went against Sin Cara and put on a great show. So that guy, he is the future of SmackDown Live, and mark that one down.
Oh, no, I'm with you on that. I'm in no way disagreeing with what you just said there. All right, well, we'll go from that after the incredible match. Go right into the main event of the evening, I guess you could say. The segment of the evening. Becky Lynch Championship Celebration. Of course, she was introduced by Paige as the new champion. You know, that little dog and pony show they always do. Now, let's see if I have it. I should have it this time. Sort by date. There you go. Sort by date. Why is it not showing up? I had it right here. Son of a bitch. I had it. Hold on, let me bring it up on the thing. I think I had it excuse me for a second, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Alright, there you go. We're going to play this real quick. And it's only a few minutes. I cut it down And this is courtesy of WWE.com. I'm gonna play. I'm gonna put it on here, and I want to share the sound with you, so you could be able to hear it. All right, let's hear this, and we'll comment with that. Ooh. There you go. You can hear it?
Got it.
Yep. All right, cool. Alright. Well, I'll pause it right there. That was my first thing I had a problem with. Like, she tried to go with the face way of congratulating her. But then I heard this on another program, and I agree because I felt the same thing when I heard this. It didn't seem like she was like coming down there like a mother on a child. Like she talked down to her at that point.
I could see that. I hadn't thought of it that way. But yeah, I could definitely see that.
And that's where I said they missed their opportunity there. If she would have... Well, let's play more. But just listen to that tone, and we'll go a little bit further. We got about a minute and a half left. We're almost done. How'd you feel about that? That minute alone with her talking when she took over.
I loved it. That was probably some of the best heel work I've seen her do to date. That was great, the way she commanded the mic.
Now, right there. Now, in the first part of that, in like that promo, if me and Charlotte took a different approach, it was nicer saying, I want my best friend back. You know, I want this. The title's not worth it. And she went on with what she just said there. Wouldn't that got more heat than what... They were still kind of cheering. And you got a little bit of the little booze out there. Do you think you would have got more of that?
Absolutely. And I can tell you exactly what I was thinking as I was watching it. With Charlotte's side of it, anyway.
Yeah.
It was almost like she comes out, and I've got this little beaten down woman talking, and it's coming as the typical face type character. Mm-hmm. And then at some point, it's almost like it flipped a switch, and I was a little bit confused. Is she face? Is she heel? What is she?
Exactly.
She was kind of doing that floater range, and to me, it kind of killed momentum for both women right then and there.
Yeah, it's just, I know that she is a natural heel, and I don't think she feels comfortable like her dad. Her dad wasn't comfortable being the face.
Right.
He was a heel. That's what he was good at. She is kind of in that same way, but this is not the story they're telling. There's ways, and like I said, all she could have said a couple lines. You were my best friend. Title's not worth it. I want my best friend back, blah, blah, blah. She kind of hinted at that, but didn't go the full Yeah, the full 9. I mean, like, she didn't go all the way there. She went halfway there.
Right.
It's basically what I'm saying. And I think the segment would have been a lot better if she would have went that far. So we got less than a minute left. Let's finish the clip and we'll go on further with this. It's like a call and text support. She's going from one thing after another after another.
And I didn't see that one coming. That's what I loved the most about it.
Yeah, well, it was funny. There we go. We got 30 seconds left. This is where she went halfway on. And that is it.
Oh, it's better listening to it now than what it was watching it originally. Because I'm picking up a lot more from Becky going back again.
Yeah. And that's, like I said, she did her job. If Charlotte would have, again, it was just her, it was like everything there, like talking down to her. If she would have took the different approach of like, I want my brother, like she said, I want my best friend back instead of this little show. I think if she went into it like, oh, I want my best friend back, you would have been a person, the title's not worth it, you know. If she took it the nicer approach, it's like she took a little mean approach to it. That's why I say they kind of missed it there. If she would have did her side better on trying to be like the face of that situation, it would have. You would have got more heat on Becky. Because imagine her saying all that, and then she says queen, and then ends it with bitch. And again, we're going to get into that in a second, because that's something you don't hear a lot of anymore. It's kind of weird in this culture, but overall, what did you think of the segment, though? I mean, like, despite that, what my analysis of it. Do you see it the same? Do you see it different?
I see it pretty much the same. I mean, the short answer for me on this one would be so-so for Charlotte, home run for Becky.
All right. I'm going to end it with this. They missed an opportunity, but there's still time. And there's not much time left. If you want this heel turn to be accepted, you got to do something. They get heat. This was an opportunity they missed. I'm sure they feel that they missed. Let's see what they do next week on SmackDown. Hopefully, they won't miss this opportunity. They better do something. If not, everything they've worked for went to shit. All right. Well, now that we're done with Raw and SmackDown, well, let's before we get into that, actually, what would you rate SmackDown 1 to 5 this week?
This will be the highest rating I've ever done on the show. 4.5.
Wow. What's the one thing that took it away?
Just from the fact that I can't give out a 5 because of the botch from Maurice. That's the one thing I'm going to say took some steam out of it. But outside of that, top to bottom of this card, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed enough that I've watched it 2 or 3 times now.
All right. Actually, I'm going to go slightly lower than you. I'm going to go 4. And like I said, if that segment, if they knocked that out of the park at the end of the show, probably would have gave it almost a 5. Almost. It would have been close. Maybe 4.8. If they, because that would have been the Maurice thing, yeah, that would have been the only bad thing about that show. Everything else, I mean, it was on point. Everything was great. The matches were great, but yeah, that ending, I mean, they missed that opportunity to get some heat on Becky, but hopefully Creative, sees that they screwed up, and let's see if they fix that. All right, let's go into the final segment, my friend. All right, let's play the sweeper.
It's Power Rankings time. Let's see what the guys put at number 1 in the segment we call
You just made the list!
The List.
All right, and yes, folks, this is the list, our version of the WWE Power Rankings for the week. We go from 5 to 1. Not all of us are always the same, but it's good to get the take of everyone or how they feel was the top 5 of the week. You, McGriff, you lead the way this week. Go ahead, my friend. Who's on your list?
Number 5. I've got The Miz coming in. Strong performance on the mic this week, as always. And coming off a win from Hell in a Cells. Number 5. Number 4, for the exact same reasons and pulling off a great heel character, Randy Orton.
All right.
Number 3, Becky Lynch. She's staying on fire every week. There are some missed opportunities like you stated, but she's so far doing a great job.
Yeah, she is on her part, yeah.
Number 2, Drew McIntyre. What can I say? The guy is straight fire every time he gets inside the ring. He's outperforming everybody.
Okay.
Number 1, AJ Styles. Gotta have the WWE champ as number 1. Even though I didn't even talk about it in SmackDown. My biggest problem with SmackDown right now, I should be seeing AJ Styles to end the show almost every week. And yet we haven't seen him, and I couldn't even tell you last time I saw him to end the show.
As far as ending the show, no, I think pay-per-view is more main event. But I think we were going on with that. I actually discussed with someone about this subject alone this week. We've been spoiled with the Attitude Era of having a Rock, Stone Cold, Triple H on every week. But it was a different time where you're going up against a big company like WCW. I think we were spoiled with that. You don't need the guy every week. That's how I feel, because, again, you didn't see that back in the day. You didn't see Hulk Hogan every week on Superstars. I mean, at the
same time we're seeing Roman Reigns every week to open Raw.
I don't want to see that either.
I agree. But at some point, you do need to have him to end the show in some fashion. I'm not saying every week, but it kind of goes hand in hand with what you were talking about, seeing the title on the show. I understand they show the title on SmackDown, but you got to have it relevant by ending the show too. At some point that should be the final thought of the night.
Not every week, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, they should have it once in a while, definitely. All right, well, that's a whole nother topic right there. Maybe we can do that as a pop-up.
That one up earlier.
We could do that as a pop-up show. It'd be a great topic. All right, here we go. Here's my list for the week. Starting at number 5 is, even though he's your number 1, but he's my number 5, AJ Styles. Now, I understand that he had that win against Andrade Cien Almas, but the reason I put him back at 5, he didn't technically win at Hell in a Cell. That little ending they have, an awesome ending, I think, of that match. That's why I put him at 5. He had great matches, but he had to be in my top 5, but he is at number 5. Number 4 is the guy that technically at this point should be champion. Samoa Joe. Great match. Of course, he didn't do so much on SmackDown, but the fact that he did technically win that match, if you want to be technical, and they're going to build off of that going into Super Showdown, he's number 4. Number 3 is Randy Orton, coming off a great match at Hell in a Cell. A good mini segment on SmackDown, but again, what he did all the way up to Hell in a Cell, and the great match he had with Jeff Hardy. He's at number 3. Number 2, I'm with you on Drew McIntyre. Money, money, money. That's all I got to say.
Yep.
Great matches, great tag match, great singles match. Guys, money at this point. Number 1 is your new SmackDown Women's Champion, Becky Lynch. I had to go with her, and like I said, that segment fell short, but it wasn't on her end. She did a great job on her end. It was Charlotte, just her translation of how she said everything. It was more of a mother correcting a child more than someone trying to be friends with someone. They're trying to make friends again, trying to rekindle a friendship. But overall, Becky Lynch, number 1. There you go, folks. For people that want to give me shit for not putting women on the number 1 spot. And it wasn't because it was well-deserved. All right. Oh, man. We actually went a little over 2 hours at this point.
I know.
And, imagine if we had the other two guys. Of course, we have two guys with this. What's myself, Mag Griff, and then we have D. Shep and Electrifly. They couldn't do tonight. But, man, imagine if we had them two. Probably would have been a 4-hour show. But, any final thoughts before we end this?
No, I think I'm good to go.
All right. Thank you for tuning in tonight, everyone. And we actually got quite a few followers on Twitch. Of course, if you're listening to this on iTunes, you can watch the show live every Saturday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at twitch.tv/Go Home Wrestling Show. You also can watch us on YouTube under Go Home Wrestling Show. Also, if you don't listen to us, you can listen to us not only on iTunes, you can listen to us on Google Play, Stitcher, and soon Spotify. We're about a few episodes away. We got to submit 5 episodes and we'll be on Spotify too. So make sure you subscribe, leave a 5-star review on iTunes, and leave a good review on the other platforms. And if you want to see the video archives of this show, you can follow us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell for every time we go live and anytime we add a new video. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter at MagRef86. I'm at Wrestling_Go. And then you got DShep1979. Give him shit on why he should like 205 Live and not be such an asshole about it. And then, of course, Underdog Fly for Electrifly. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Go Home Wrestling Show. Later, everybody.